Kia ora team, welcome back to our Mars Contextual Unit. This video is about Concept 3, where does oxygen and glucose come from? By the end of this lesson, you should be able to describe the process and give the equation for photosynthesis. And you should be able to explain how respiration and photosynthesis are both necessary for the survival of plants and humans. So in the previous lesson, we talked about this process of respiration, and I'll just bring up this respiration equation that you learnt about. So in order for humans and all plants and animals and all living things to create the energy they need to survive, they need oxygen and sugar for respiration to create energy as the main product, and carbon dioxide and water as the waste product, as the byproduct. And in this lesson, we're asking, where does this oxygen and sugar come from? Well, it turns out that oxygen and sugar can come from photosynthesis. So what is photosynthesis? Photosynthesis is the process by which plants capture light energy from the sunlight and turn it into glucose, which is that sugar, and oxygen that we need for respiration. So plants actually provide the reactants that all living things need for cellular respiration. And photosynthesis can be represented by this equation. Carbon dioxide plus water plus light energy absorbed by chlorophyll makes glucose and oxygen. Can you see which are the reactants in this equation? And can you see which are the products in this equation? The reactants are on this side, the left side of the arrow, and the products are on the right side of the arrow. You must really understand the link between photosynthesis and respiration because they are linked very closely. Photosynthesis and cellular respiration are connected through an important relationship, and this relationship enables life to survive as we know it. The word equations, which are the ones that we just showed you earlier, the word equations of photosynthesis and respiration show that the reactants and products are complete opposites. So aerobic respiration uses oxygen and produces carbon dioxide, while photosynthesis uses carbon dioxide and produces oxygen. Do you see how they're opposites of each other? Photosynthesis makes the glucose that is used in cellular respiration to make ATP, while glucose is then turned back into carbon dioxide, which is used in photosynthesis, like a cycle. So let's have a look at this first picture I've got here on this side. The first thing you can notice is that photosynthesis happens during the day because light is present. That's when the sun is up. Whereas respiration happens all the time, both day and night, because you don't need sunlight to be present for respiration. Now, photosynthesis uses the carbon dioxide to produce oxygen. In that process, it also makes carbohydrates like glucose. In an opposite reaction, respiration uses that oxygen and carbohydrates, so that glucose, to turn into energy. Let's analyze this next picture down here. So photosynthesis happens in an organelle or in a functional unit called the chloroplast. It's green because it contains green pigment molecules called chlorophyll. And that chlorophyll absorbs a lot of light energy from the sun. That light energy and water and carbon dioxide is then turned into oxygen and glucose. This oxygen and glucose then goes into this mitochondrion, this functional unit where cellular respiration happens. And it turns this glucose and oxygen into carbon dioxide and, most importantly, ATP, energy. So can you see how the reactants of photosynthesis, so the carbon dioxide, is the product of respiration? And can you see how the reactants of respiration is the product of photosynthesis? This is how they're linked. Now let's watch this video so you can better understand the relationship between photosynthesis and respiration.
Wouldn't it be nice if the exhaust of your car could be used as fuel for your motorcycle, and the exhaust of your motorcycle could be used for fuel for your car? you would have a nice cycle in which both the car and the motorcycle benefited. Welcome to Moo Moo Math Science and the relationship between photosynthesis and cellular respiration. Photosynthesis and cellular respiration have a similar relationship. The waste product of photosynthesis is used in cellular respiration, and the waste product of cellular respiration is used for fuel in photosynthesis. In order to stay alive, we need to eat. However, have you ever thought, do plants need food? Yes, but how do plants get food by just standing around all day? Plants get their energy using a process called photosynthesis. In order for photosynthesis to take place, a plant needs 3 items. Water, like you see in this rainstorm, carbon dioxide found in the atmosphere. In fact, we breathe out carbon dioxide, and it's also released into the atmosphere when we burn organic objects. And then last, sunlight. So here's how it works. Plants have small openings called stomata on their surfaces. Carbon dioxide in the atmosphere enter these tiny openings and travel to the chloroplasts. Photosynthesis occurs at these chloroplasts, which are small organelles that plants have. The plants take the carbon dioxide plus water and energy from the sun, and in a chemical reaction create sugar in the form of glucose, and then some oxygen that it releases.
You don't need to know what this is down here.
Sugar created in the chemical reaction, called photosynthesis, is used by the plant to create energy. You could define photosynthesis as the process by which plants and other items make food. It is a chemical process that uses sunlight to turn carbon dioxide and water into sugars that the cell can use as energy. Now, why is cellular respiration important? It's important because living organisms, including plants, generate energy for their daily activities using cellular respiration. Cellular respiration takes place at the mitochondria. Think of the mitochondria as the power plant for cells, similar to how cells use power plants for their energy. So here's how it works in basic terms. At the mitochondria, the sugar combines with oxygen to produce carbon dioxide, water, and energy in the form of ATP. So in summary, photosynthesis takes carbon dioxide and water plus sunlight to create oxygen, and sugar, which is exactly what cellular respiration needs. Cellular respiration takes the sugar and oxygen to create carbon dioxide and water plus ATP. Which,
if you wanted to, you can write this as your notes in your books.
Helps with photosynthesis. And this cycle repeats over and over again.
And just for interest, here is another really great video by Ted Ed on the relationship of photosynthesis and respiration. We won't watch that right now, but you know that you can find these videos on Lemonade. So that's the end of this lesson. By now you should be able to describe the process and give the equation for photosynthesis. And you should be able to explain how respiration and photosynthesis are both necessary for the survival of plants and humans. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.